Hey guys, Truetalk here, and today we're going to be talking about Legend of Tomorrow Episode 2 from this past week. The first thing that I want to talk about is the beginning scene of the episode where we see Amaya and Nate kind of living together in Central City in present day. And we see that Amaya sees her granddaughter on the TV in Detroit, and that kind of spurs her to think about, she needs to go back to her time before the timeline changes and her granddaughter is affected. So we see Amaya basically get up and leave, and Nate is just taken aback and unexpectedly comes home to Amaya not being there. So this continues in the episode where we see that she had to leave, but she didn't want to leave to where Nate would try to follow her. So she wanted to make her leaving to make him angry so that he wouldn't follow her. And that plays into the episode where we see Nate not being happy that Amaya is back. And that leads into the next thing that I want to talk about. The anachronism that the team is tackling this episode is that there is a saber-toothed tiger at P.T. Barnum's circus. So the team needs to go into the circus, basically pick up the saber-toothed tiger and then put it back to where it needs to be in time. But of course, the legends and things go awry. Instead of shrinking the tiger so that it can fit on the Wave Rider and that they can transport it safely without it attacking them, instead Shrink Ray makes the saber-toothed tiger bigger and causes havoc in the circus, which spurs Sarah going to Zambezi to get Amaya and bring her back into the fold. The next thing that I want to talk about is the Time Bureau. We see that one of the Time Bureau agents, Gary, is basically tailing the legends and making sure and watching what they're doing under the order of Agent Sharp. And we see Agent Sharp come into the episode a little later and basically one-on-one fight with Sarah. And we see them fight and then they stop fighting. I feel like this is going to be an interesting relationship between the two of them this season. I don't know if I'm the only one that's getting like a vibe to where we might see them get together romantically later. But needless to say, I think her relationship, the two of them are going to eventually come to see the value in each other, and it'll come in handy for when they're going to be tackling the big bad of the season eventually. The next thing that I want to talk about is Amaya and her powers. We see Amaya use her powers towards the end of the episode, and we see her kind of lose it and kind of go, I want to say primal, to where she's just ready to tear P.T. Barnum's, tear him apart. And we see, and she explains that this happened to her before when Belgian soldiers were trying to take over Zambezi. And I think this is interesting because it's kind of one of those things where she's trying to protect something that she loves. So I feel like it's one of those situations, but also to move into the next thing that happens. At the very, very end of the season, or episode, we see a follower of Mollis, who's the big bad of the season, basically resurrect Kuwasa, which is Amaya's granddaughter and sister to the modern-day vixen Mari. And this is interesting. If you watch the Vixen animated series, you would know that Kuwasa died using the water totem. So this is interesting and funny, or kind of like a little Easter egg to that, because she kind of forms out of the water. But to continue, I think maybe the totem that Amaya has is upset or not in balance or something to that effect, or it's, like I said, it could just be she's trying to protect her village, and that continues in just the rage that the animal spirits are having towards these people that are attacking things that Amaya loves. Next, let's talk about the episode description for episode 3, titled Zari, Outlaws. When Sarah receives a distress call from their befriended agent at the Time Bureau, she learns that they have been tasked with going to the future to capture a rogue time traveler. Unfortunately, the legends make things worse by trying to protect an outlaw named Zari, to hopefully lure in the time-traveling assassin. Meanwhile, Stein tries to diagnose Amaya's condition, but Nate discovers an unusual treatment that Amaya begrudgingly agrees to. So, to break this down, we see the befriended agent at the Time Bureau. This might be Gary, it might be Agent Sharp, but nonetheless, they have been tasked with capturing a rogue time traveler, and their tactic to try to capture this time traveler is to protect this outlaw named Zari as basically bait. And as we know, it was announced that Zari is going to be joining the Legends, so this is going to be the episode that we are introduced to her. Secondly, we're going to be continuing the arc of Amaya and, I guess, her issues with the totem and the rage that she has, and, almost going too far in attacking people. And not sure what unusual treatment that Nate is going to discover for her, but we do see in the trailer that he's kind of looks like he's tripping out, kind of on drugs to an extent. So I don't know if this is going to play into that as well. As always, guys, my blog will be linked in the description. My social media will be linked in the description as well. And as always, happy Friday, and let's talk.